Hello and welcome into the KE Report. Chad and Corey here, getting an update on Dolly Varden Silver. Traded on the TSX.V under the ticker DV and on the OTCQX under the ticker DOLLF. And we're joined today with the president and CEO of Dolly Varden Silver, Shawn Khunkhun. And Shawn, always great to get you on the show for an update on Dolly Varden. And it's been a little while. I think it's been 2 months since we've had you on the show. And it's an exciting news release that we have to cover today that you put out just on November the 4th, today. And basically, you have highlighted at the Homestake Silver Deposit some what I would call eye-popping results here on the gold: 12.23 grams per ton gold and 84 grams per ton silver over 34.93, so basically 35 meters. And then 29.24 grams per ton gold and 16.94 grams per ton silver over essentially 14 meters. You know, that first one's over a 400 gram per meter hit. The second one's over a 200 gram per meter hit. So kind of exciting. Now, this is following up on some of the results you had at the end of last drill season in the Homestake area that had some pretty pronounced gold values. Tell us about these holes, how you're expanding the resources, and what these holes mean for the Homestake area.
Yeah, no, so good to be on. Thanks for having me. And it's wonderful to come on with great news. You know, we've highlighted two big drill holes here, hole 432 and hole 435. And I'm going to take a slightly different approach. If we looked at the mineralized envelope, including the veins, in hole 432, you've got almost 50 meters of almost 9 grams of gold. 50 meters of almost 9 grams of gold, plus a little bit of silver. And then in hole 435, you've got over 100 meters of almost 5 grams of gold. And so now that's not how we presented the results. We presented the results looking at the 12 grams over 35 meters and 30 grams over 14 meters, because that's how we think the deposit will be mined. But what I'm seeing here at Homestake is I am getting a lot of confidence in the project, a tremendous amount of confidence in the project. You know, when we first acquired Homestake, we essentially acquired what was predominantly an inferred resource. And it was an inferred resource that's average grade. In the indicated category, it was actually over 7 grams per ton, but in the inferred, it was just a pinch sub 5. And the drilling that we did in 2022, 2023, and these results here in 24 have given me a lot of confidence in elevated grades and continuity. So, you know, I think there's a few key takeaways here. But at the end of the day, and this is something we talk a lot about when we report our silver results, all these results give me the confidence that this is a bulk underground mining operation. And what that means for the investor is not only are you getting high grade, but you're going to be able to go into some big tonnage, and that's going to reduce future mining costs. So high grade gold and silver, but it's potentially bulk mineable.
So, Shawn, just give me a little bit more color, if you could, please, on the location of these holes. We look at figure 3 and the holes that were in this news release, the 5 holes. They look like they pretty much were right in the middle of this Homestake Silver Deposit. So, again, are these expansionary holes? Are these confirmatory holes? Give us some more information on what exactly you were testing here.
So the reason we went into this area is it was sparsely drilled in the past. And some of the information in terms of resource estimates was based on some widely spaced holes. And the risk in that is if you go to infill and you're unsuccessful, let's say you get no gold, or let's say you get results that are inferior to the results that surround it, you have the risk of your ounce count going down. Just the opposite has happened here. As we drill into a sparsely drilled area, we are overwhelmingly surprised by these strong grades as we highlighted here in this. And so what that tells me is there's a really good chance to add a significant amount of ounces based on these grades that we're seeing. And it's not just these grades. at the neighboring Homestake main deposit, we had previously reported over 25 meters of 46 grams of gold. So it's what we're seeing here is we're seeing really, really high concentrations of both high grade gold. Now we're talking a lot about gold. We are Dolly Varden silver. And if we go 5 kilometers south, we put out hole after hole after hole from Wolf, where we're finding kilo grades of silver over 10 meters, half kilo grades of silver, over 600 grams of silver over 20, 30 meters. So, what we're finding here is we're growing primary silver at the Dolly Varden property. And then we're adding a lot of silver and gold here up at Homestake, which is part of the same trend. And, we envision this whole Kitsault Valley trend as one operation in the future.
Well, Shawn, just digging into that idea, you must be a mind reader, because I was going to ask you about the balance of silver to gold in this overall project, the Kitsault Valley Project, just because it seems like even at Homestake Silver, you're still finding a lot of high-grade gold and, again, wide intercepts, like you say, amenable to bulk underground mining, that bulk tonnage you can mass up. But how should people think of this project? Because with all the silver to the south and all the gold in the north, how does it come together? And what about the area between these two areas, kind of that gap area?
So if you look at figure 1, I think figure 1 really gives the audience an idea of, if you start in the northern part of the property, you're almost 100% gold at Homestake Main. And then as you go further south, you're moving from a gold dominant zone to a gold silver dominant zone. And then as you move right into the southern part of the valley, it's 100% silver. So I think what you have here, and it's not uncommon in the Golden Triangle, projects that I've referenced many times in this show before, projects like Escape, projects like Premier, projects like Bruce Jack, they're very similar. They have a silver and gold component. What's unique about Dolly is that we've got pure 100% silver focused in the southern part. So the way to look at Dolly is right now you've got 64 times more silver than you do gold. So when you have a silver to gold ratio that's 80 to 1, it's give or take, roughly 50% silver, 50% gold, but you do have 64 times more silver on the project. Now, historically, silver wasn't valued at 80 times less than gold. It was valued at 15 times less than gold. So I think that Dolly is a silver centric company, and what's rare about it is with deposits like Wolf, with the past producing Torbrit, we're uniquely growing primary silver at exceptional grade. And what's interesting is I had a very sophisticated investor ask me about, what's the deposit doing here as you go deeper? And what it's doing for sure on the Wolf side is it is swelling. So the mineralization is getting wider and it's getting richer. And so it's intensifying. And we've got a lot of holes that remain. We drilled a total of 69 holes this season for just under 32,000 meters. We've reported 41 holes so far. And so we've got a lot of drilling project wide to still get out.
So Shawn, give us some insight then on where the rest of these results come from. That over almost 32,000 meter program was pretty evenly split between the Dolly Varden area and the Homestake Ridge area. What's still left to report, and what were the goals around those holes?
So it's a balance of, we had 3 objectives when we started the program. We wanted to do some, what I would describe as regional exploration. So finding new veins outside of the 43101 compliant deposits. And we were successful. We put out results from Moose and Chance early in the year, back in June, or early in our season. And we've got more regional results, both from drilling, but also from some surface exploration that we've done. And that's an important component of building up targets that you can then convert into these types of drill results. And we're still doing a lot of that work at Dolly. So we've got some regional exploration results to come out with. We have more holes to report from the silver side of the property, including Wolf. And then we do have more Homestake results pending. So it should be a really, really fun end to the year as we push towards Christmas, as we're going to continue to put out results. And if we focus on the results we've put out to date, if we go back and again look at some of the results we had in September and August from Wolf back in June, it's been again 2021, 2022, 23, and now 24. We've had 4 years in a row where we've exceeded expectations. And, that's starting to tell me that this project it's starting to resemble almost a Bruce Jack South with some of these results that we're putting out.
Well, Shawn, just to that point, do you anticipate at the end of this drill program updating the resource? Any thoughts on economic studies? What else can you say about further milestones coming down the pipeline?
You know what? I think I'm going to wait until we get all the results, and then we'll assess what's the best step to take. But the guidance I've given to the investors who've put money into the company, and we've raised about $47 million this year. And so the guidance I've given to those institutional and high net worth investors and investors like Eric Sprott is that we're going to have another big season of drilling in 2025 before we start thinking about economic studies.
Fair enough. But you have a lot of drilling in here, right? So will there be a point where you need to focus on one or two of these different zones because of the fact that you have so many of these zones here, but you obviously want to mass up in terms of continuing to grow resource size?
I think at some point that's appropriate. I think at some point it's appropriate to make that decision. And I think the time to do that is after the 2025 drill program, which we are fully funded for.
Well, and Shawn, just one more on the regional targets. We've talked a lot about the periodicity of this, where every 1,400 meters, I believe, you keep hitting, from Torbrit to Wolf, from Wolf to Chance and Moose. It seems like Mother Nature. Every 1,400 meters, there's another one. Is there any regional targets testing even further extents of that thesis?
Yeah, and that's where some of the surface work that we're doing ahead of drilling, drilling is one of the most expensive forms of exploration. And, all of the ground truthing you can do leading up to that. So we are building up some targets, and I'm really excited. As much as I think the market puts more value in drill results, but I'm keenly awaiting some results from some of the surface work we've done, because that's ultimately how these deposits were found initially. And I think the key to our future success is, we've got something like $4 billion worth of metal in the ground in compliant resource estimates. But if we were to get to 8 or 12, it's going to be on the back of new areas. And so I'm excited not only about the drill results that we have pending, but also, and I've never talked about this in the 5 years I've been the CEO of Dolly Varden. I'm really, really keen to get out some of the surface results that we have pending.
Okay, so continued exploration. Hey, this is an exploration story. Just remind everybody of the news flow then, Shawn. It sounds very drill hole heavy. What's the general time frame of getting out all the remaining results from this year's program?
So traditionally, I like to sort of let history be my guide. And traditionally, we've had all results out by in and around January. So I would suspect the same would be true this year.
All right, Shawn. Well, we'll wrap it up there for today, but it's exciting to see these results at the Homestake Silver area. Exciting to look forward to more results from this area, from Wolf, and from some of that regional drilling, and even some of the surface work you mentioned. We'll keep our eyes peeled for that. And if people listening in want to follow along with the news as it's released real time from Dolly Varden, definitely click on the link below this interview. It takes you straight over to the company website, right to their news section, so you too can follow along. Shawn, keep us posted as more results get out to the market. We'll get you back on for an update. And as always, looking forward to our next conversation.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me on.